What's up, my guys? What's up, my girls? Happy and blessed Tuesday. It's good to be with you again this week, my dear and beloved Dani Flores here on the Dani Flow podcast. Today, happy Easter, by the way. If you're telling yourself Easter was Sunday, that's correct. But it was the beginning of Easter. Easter is about 7 weeks, I think. Could be wrong. I don't mind you guys consulting Professor Google on that. As one of my professors says, I think I usually say the almost omniscient Google. I'm going to stick with that one. So happy Easter. I hope all of you had a good Easter Sunday. So today on the Dani Flow podcast, we are going to talk about being sad because some of us who are into lifting weights, we can't lift weights because the gyms are closed. So if you have an at-home gym, you can't relate, and God bless you because you made a very good investment, very good decision. Of course, you didn't do it because you feared a worldwide pandemic, but nonetheless, it was a wise decision, very prudent decision. Good for you. May God bless you with a lot of more wisdom. But the rest of us, we're sad, to put it lightly. We're bummed out. So working out increases endorphins, right? So we don't have that endorphin kick that maybe we were getting, not on a daily basis, but maybe at least 3 times a week, 4 times a week, depending on how many times you would hit the gym. I think before I talk about what we could do about it, I think I kind of want to nerd out a little bit, get philosophical as I often do, and talk about why a person would even want to lift weights or be into fitness of some sorts. Right? I haven't done that in a while. I talk about fitness every once in a while, or at least the philosophy of fitness, the philosophy of lifting weights. So I think today I'll get into that a little bit. So why would somebody want to lift weights? I think if you're serious about lifting weights, there's different kinds that you could do, right? I think at least in the bubble that I live in, right? In the bubble that I live in real life and on the gram, right? Bodybuilding is huge. Bodybuilding is about the aesthetics that you can achieve through lifting weights, through something that they call hypertrophy, which is the enlargement of the muscles. And to enlarge your muscles, you have to be in a calorie surplus. You have to eat more calories than you burn, and you have to put your body under a lot of time under tension. And you can achieve a lot of time under tension just by using a moderate weight that you can handle and doing a lot of repetitions, somewhere between 8, 12, maybe up to 15, depending on what you want to do. Just a lot of volume, right? That's huge, and that's actually kind of why I got into fitness. So bodybuilding is huge. Like, there's different categories, right? But a lot of the time you just use the same lifts, but you just have a different purpose in mind. So the other one that's big is like powerlifting, where they focus on the bench press, the deadlift, the squat, and usually you keep your reps under 8, mostly actually maybe around 5, sometimes even 3s, right? Because you're training for strength. You don't really care what you look like. Now, a lot of times you do end up putting on size because you also need to put on size to gain strength. But I think the technique is equally as important, and a lot of compound moves are more of the focus. Instead of like in bodybuilding, you do a lot of compound moves, but you also do a lot of like isolation stuff, a lot of accessory stuff to just get it more repetitions. You just try to exhaust the muscle because you want that time under tension so that you'll so that you'll grow, right? Then there's also Olympic lifting. So Olympic lifting, you mostly focus on the clean and jerk, snatch, stuff like overhead squat, right? And on that one, it's mostly technique, I would say. People that know a lot more than me and are professionals can correct me if I'm wrong. I'm not against being corrected, right? And then there's also CrossFit, which takes kind of, I would say, the best of all those three, and just so like one of the caricatures of CrossFit is that it's cardio with weights, but I would say it mostly focuses on like the lifts in the Olympic weightlifting, but it just does lighter weight and max reps, and then it combines it with like cardiovascular exercises, and you kind of just switch back and forth and try to do max effort on either one of those. Then there's also strongman, right? Which is people that compete in strongman kind of train similar to people that compete in powerlifting. They're just a lot more strong because they're genetically gifted to be like massive. I don't think anyone can be a strongman. I think you have to have, well, that goes for anything. And again, I'm not like a professional, I'm an armchair expert, right? There's also calisthenics, I think, and that's like body weight exercises. And I feel like your Olympic weightlifters, your CrossFitters, and your calisthenics, a lot of times they're just like leaner, and then your strongman and your power lifters are usually on the heavier side. These are stereotypes, of course. And then your bodybuilders are a little bit of both, right? On the off season, they're heavier like power lifters and strongmen, but then on in season, or whatever it's called, whenever they have to do shows, they're like leaner, like your CrossFitters, Olympic weightlifters, and people that are into calisthenics. And of course there's just like hybrids of different stuff. So you could get into lifting if you just like love the sport. I would describe myself as a recreational weightlifter, as a recreational strength trainer. I don't do a lot of cardiovascular exercises. The only cardio that I really do is horizontal cardio, like Fat Amy from Pitch Perfect. Fun fact about me, I like chick flicks. I think they're funny. Usually movies that are marketed as comedy aren't really funny. But anyways, that's another topic for another day. But what I was saying, so you can get into lifting if you just are attracted to the sport. Like I said, I do this recreationally. I would say it's a serious recreation. It's a serious hobby for me. I've mentioned this before. I'm a little bit allergic to the word lifestyle, but it is kind of a lifestyle for me. Now, of course, I'm not working out as much as I used to because we're under semi-quarantine. To be honest, today is, or I'm going to post this on April 14th, and to date, April 14th, so tomorrow will be a month since they closed the gym down, and I've really only done 2 at-home workouts. So I'm just not as passionate or as interested in at-home workouts as I am in lifting actual weights. And some of my favorite lifts, just to share with you, is the sumo deadlift. I really like that. The squat, really like that too. I really like the deficit straight leg deadlift. So a deficit straight leg deadlift, you stand on a platform or on a weight to give you a little bit of height above the floor, and you'll have to pull the weight further, right? So more time under tension. And I think it's helpful for me because I have long arms. That's just what I think. And which I didn't need to say, right? I am telling you everything that I'm saying is what I think. So like that one, I really do like the hip thrust. I have a love-hate relationship with pushing movements, again because of my long arms, and I really like full range of motion. I think if I didn't do full range of motion, I could probably make better or quicker strength gains, but I just like doing the full range of one of my actual favorite pressing movements is the close grip bench press. So around here is bench press, close grip is right here, and it's more for triceps. I really like that one. I really like the press. and I've always wanted to. I've talked about this in my episode about my goals for 2020. I've always wanted to press a plate, so 135 pounds, and I haven't been able to. So I have a love-hate relationship with that. So I lost my train of thought. Let me try to pick it back up. Right. So it is kind of a lifestyle. It is kind of a lifestyle for me. So I kind of describe myself a little bit as a gym rat. So why would gym rats kind of want to get into? Gym rats are people that just do it recreationally, that don't necessarily compete in the amateur level or the professional level, and all the different kinds of weightlifting that I just mentioned: bodybuilding, powerlifting, CrossFit, strongman, calisthenics, and Olympic weightlifting. You can compete at the amateur level and at the professional level. I mean, professional level athletes at one point were amateurs, right? And then there's just people like me that just do recreational, right? So why would somebody want to do it recreationally? Well, I mean, a lot of times, especially, so I probably should have mentioned that this topic was kind of suggested by one of my friends that I've known for a long time. Her name is Anna. Thank you, Anna, for submitting a topic. If any of you have a topic to submit, leave it in the comments, or if you follow me on Instagram, send me a DM at Dani_flow, DANI_flow, if you don't follow me. So this was her topic suggestion, like, what should we do about being sad or bummed out that we can't go to the gym, right? And I've known her for some years, right? I've known her all the way back to when I had a Facebook, and I haven't had a Facebook for a long time. I actually got rid of Facebook for Instagram because all I did was post pictures on Facebook. I didn't really interact with anybody, and so I deleted my Facebook and got Instagram, because all Instagram was at the time is pictures. Now, not like in modern day Instagram, like sometimes people write novels in the caption. I try not to be one of those people. So Anna's into weightlifting like me, and my lovely wife. Shout out to both of you, Anna and my wife. So I think all of us get into fitness, people who do it recreationally. Sometimes one of the reasons is we just want a better body, you know, and so that might be the surface reason, but then underneath that, you might want a better body for different reasons. And I kind of talked about this in one of my earliest episodes, that when I started weightlifting, I wanted a better body, but I wanted it because I wanted one person's attention, and that didn't really work out. And then after that, I found out that I really liked weightlifting, but I would say that my reason kind of became, instead of becoming more mature, it became more immature, and I wanted to weightlift to have a better body so I could get everyone's attention. And I think both men and women struggle with this, right? I've had conversations about this with my wife. I think most people value authenticity, you know, sincerity. People don't like it when you like kind of put a front and kind of like hide your true intentions. Now, I made that mistake of weightlifting to have a better body because of vanity. I wanted everyone's attention, right? And I grew out of it for different reasons, not just because of age. Like, I don't mean I literally just as I got older grew out of it. I would say it was like a mental and a spiritual growth, as well as an age thing. But there's a lot of, for example, Fitspos on Instagram, and at least on the, so this gets into kind of like judging a book by its cover. A lot of people say you shouldn't judge a book by its cover. I think that's a really hard thing to do, especially like on Instagram, because like, what if you keep showing the same cover of what if it's supposed to be a different book, but you keep showing like the same cover or like a similar cover, right? So I think both men and women on Instagram that are Fitspos, I think some of them seem very interested and seem very passionate about fitness, about weightlifting, but their posts their posts come off as vain. So that's why I'm saying like that we shouldn't judge a book by its cover, but it comes off as vain. But then like if you read the caption, they're trying to sound like profound or something like that. They're trying to make it seem like it's not shallow, and they're not being vain or something like that. You know, like if it's a woman or whatever, and you know, disclaimer, I mean I think both men and women's bodies are beautiful for different reasons, you know, because I am a religious person, so I think that the body is a gift from God, and that's one of the reasons why I weightlift today, because I'm trying to take care of this gift that I have. It's the only gift that it's the only body that I'm gonna get and have. And just like with any gift, we can abuse it, you know, not just gifts from God, but if I give you a gift and the gift has a particular purpose or an intention, you can use it for something else and abuse it. So you know, for example, like I'll give an example for a guy and a girl. Like on Instagram, if a guy is constantly posting images or videos with his shirt off, right? Because maybe it gets the click and maybe they want the attention, but then in the caption they try to explain that they have some profound like message. It kind of, I think, rubs people the wrong way, and maybe I'm rubbing people the wrong way right now because they think that I'm being judgy, but I think it's kind of like impossible like not to judge. Like for example, if you're watching my podcast, it's because you've judged it to be good content. All the people that would like that kind of picture, like a guy with his like shirt off, maybe showing off his abs or something like that, or a video, you know, like he posts a video and all of the shots are of him with his shirt off, whether he's doing the bench press or dumbbell curls or maybe even a leg exercise, right? I think a person like me and some viewers, like some people are gonna like it. That's the kind of like content that they like. But someone like me would be like, well, what's the purpose of you constantly showing your abs? Now, of course, that it takes a lot of dedication and a hard work, and I would say those two things are also gifts from God. And I think maybe somebody who does post a picture with their abs constantly showing, maybe they say, well, I'm trying to inspire other guys that want to get abs like me, you know. And I mean, what would I say to that? I would say something like, let's see, I would say something like, okay, so I think maybe what I would say is like that because we value authenticity and sincerity, that maybe that's kind of what the message should be in the caption. Now, of course, they're going to say, you know, it's none of your business, I can do whatever I want. I agree, you can do whatever you want. I'm not telling you not to post it. I'm just, you know, as a amateur philosopher, I'm just trying to kind of critique the ways that we think, so that we can kind of be coherent and consistent. So which, I mean, that's something that I struggle with too. I'm not like perfect, right? I'm not, but you don't have to like be perfect to make a critique. So I mean, I think if a guy like wants to post himself constantly shirtless because he thinks that's how he's going to motivate other guys to maybe get into weightlifting, I think it would be more consistent if that's what your caption was all about. Like, hey, I got into weightlifting because I wanted to look good with my shirt off. If that's what you want to, like, I can teach you how to do that. You know, now with girls, it's a similar thing, but it's usually more of a picture. Most of their videos or images, it's like pictures of their glutes, and then the same thing kind of happens in the caption. Like it's not like, hey, sometimes it is, which I appreciate that. I appreciate the consistency when it's mostly just no matter what they're doing, bench press, overhead press, leg exercise or not, it's constantly like shots of their glutes. And if you read the caption, they might say, I got into weightlifting because I wanted bigger glutes. And if that's what you want, then I can help you like do that. I can either whether it's with motivation, whether it's you pay me money to give you a customized program, customized eating, whatever. But I think sometimes it's inconsistent because it'll be constant images or videos of, you know, shots of like sometimes even close-up shots of like their glutes, and then you read the caption and they try to have some profound message or something like that. And again, people can do whatever they want, but this is, you know, public content sometimes, and I mean, we're allowed to have our opinion. Now, whether our opinion is true or false, or whether you can have a true or false opinion is another discussion. But that's kind of one reason why, you know, to summarize, that's kind of one reason why someone might get into weightlifting recreational like me. They might want a better body, and then deeper than that, they might want a better body to get someone's attention or to get everyone's attention. And if you kind of want everyone's attention, it is kind of for vanity. And then if you do want everyone's attention, then you're either consistent or inconsistent, right? You kind of tell people, I want a better body because I got into weightlifting because I wanted a better body. If that's what you want, follow me or whatever. Or sometimes you kind of make it seem like it's a more profound reason. So I kind of was like that. And then, you know, after I had my conversion to Catholicism, I realized that I was vain, and that being vain isn't a good thing, and it kind of matured from there. And like I said, now I kind of weightlift because I think my body is a gift from God, but then also I'm married, and I think I need to offer my wife the best body that I can. I think it's interesting when we So I think it's interesting when people get into a relationship and kind of unconsciously let themselves go. Like, that's kind of a phenomenon. There's like a lot of phenomena that happens when we don't pay attention. And I mean, even just like not being aware that you're not paying attention is like an even deeper phenomenon. But like, I think it's interesting when someone purposefully lets them go when they get into a relationship, because what I've discussed before is my wife gave me a massive compliment by marrying me, right? So both of us as a single man, me, and as a single woman, her, we had chances with other people, right? Other people that were attracted to us, whether it was hopefully a person who's attracted to your body and your personality, but sometimes people are more attracted to one or the other, and that. For the sake of this video, I'm gonna say that's okay, because we're imperfect, we're broken human beings. But so yeah, we have chances with some people, and then there's people that we don't have chances with. And when you kind of get into a relationship, just like dating, just like not even marriage yet, but just like dating is a massive compliment, because you're agreeing, if you're an authentic and sincere person, you're agreeing to be exclusive with someone, and kind of you're both rejecting everyone you do have a chance with and you don't have a chance with. You reject everybody, whether you have a chance with them or not. And I think it's interesting when people purposefully let themselves go, because again, if we're being authentic and sincere, I think our level of attractiveness does have something to do with how we get our boyfriend and girlfriend, and our husbands and wives. Husbands for women and wives for men, boyfriends for girls and girlfriends for men. So because as I've discussed before, we're not just our body, right? Like, if I were to pass away, please God, may it be in a long time, my body would remain, but that's not me, right? Or if somehow right now my personality left my body and was just like floating in air, and you could hear my personality talk, but you couldn't see it, that wouldn't be me either. Like, I'm my body and my personality, right? When my wife, because without my body, for example, my wife wouldn't be able to hug me, and without my personality, like, my wife wouldn't be able to hear me, right? I wouldn't be able to communicate with her without either one. I wouldn't be able to communicate with her either physically or immaterially, right? So yeah, I think, and of course there's other reasons, but those are just kind of two, right? Sometimes you do it for vainer reasons, and then you're either honest about that, and or you try to kind of mask it with something like more profound. Because I think, like, sometimes we have faults like vanity, but we don't want to be called out about it, right? Or we don't want it to come off that way for some reason. All of these things are complicated, and then sometimes it's like more mature reasons, right? But like I was saying, it's interesting when you purposefully let yourself go, because someone who used to be with you exclusively, so then it's like, wow, like some of the people that you rejected with, especially if it was somebody that you did have a chance with, like some of those people look better than me, and yet they decided to give me a chance. I think that's a massive compliment, and I think it puts a burden on us to improve our personality as well as our body, right? And maybe not all of us realize that, but some of us do, and then some of us purposefully reject it. And I don't know, I find that a little bit sad and like interesting. It's like, why would you like reject that? So and I mean, just to kind of critique myself, I'm not doing very well with that right now, because like I said, I only did 2 at-home workouts. So so now let's kind of, to answer my friend's question, what can we do about being sad? I think one of the things that we can do is kind of get better at waiting. One of the things that I know that she's doing, my friend, is she's doing a lot more cardio. That's good, because like if I were you, actually if you were me, you wouldn't be doing that, because I hate cardio. And maybe you don't hate it like I do, maybe you like it a little bit less, but I think it's very commendable that you're doing it even though you like it less than lifting weights. Now I think one of the things that's helped me with not being able to go to the gym is actually my Catholic faith. I've been talking about this a lot on the gram, but before the quarantine I wasn't praying with my family as much, and I was talking about how I've always had a personal prayer life, but I didn't really have one with my wife or my son outside of every Sunday when we would go worship at Mass. And if I'm being brutally honest right now, I would say my personal prayer life is kind of taking a hit right now, but I am being diligent about praying with my family. So it's, no matter what, it's going to be hard, but I think one of the things that we can do is just grow in the virtue of patience. Another thing is, like I said, prayer. And then I think I'll just maybe end with this. So I saw a post on the gram talking about how people who think that they can't maintain their strength at home during this semi-quarantine pandemic are kind of like mistaken, because these exercises that we do at home that aren't as exciting as the squat, the hip thrust, deadlifting and stuff like that, because it's body weight exercises like push-ups maybe, or body weight squats. They were saying that what we need to do is maybe mess around with the time under tension, like mess around with the tempo, because like think about like, so like I can squat like 225 for repetitions, right before the pandemic. I hit one of my goals of like one of my goals was to hit 315 for the squat for 2 reps, and actually hit it for 3. and then the Rona, right? But I could do 225 for reps pretty easy, but there's a certain speed that I go to. If I were to slow down that speed, it would be way harder. Well, it's the same thing with like body weight exercises. Like if we're a person that squats relatively heavy for us, body weight squats seem pretty boring. But if you just tried to slow it down, then it would be a lot harder, and you would maintain some of that strength. So I would suggest that. So cardio, which some of you are probably already doing, prayer, and doing body weight exercises with a slower tempo. So that's at least 3 things. Let me see if I can quickly come up with another one. So I mean, we have a lot more time now, so I think just talking, when you're interested in something, like you like talking about it. So like if you think of, I'm not a guy that's into sports, but I'm around some guys that are into sports and they know a lot about it. And not only do they, some of them, there's some people that enjoy just watching sports and not playing. There's some people that enjoy both. There's some people that enjoy just playing but not watching. And then talking about sports is a whole nother thing. Like there's some people that, I mean, there's people that talk about sports professionally in these different areas of fitness, of strength training. I don't know why I put that in scare quotes, but like at all these different events, there are people that get paid to like commentate and talk about sports or talk about weightlifting professionally, right? And some of them, they might not weightlift, but they like watching and they like commentating and they like talking about it. So I think another thing that we can do is to deal with the sadness and being bummed out that we can't go to the gym is talk about the gym, talk about fitness, talk about strength training, talk about what we like, talk about what we don't like. Because I mean, here on the Dani Flow podcast, I stress this a lot. We have a philosophy on literally everything, and I love philosophy both as a verb and as a noun. What I'm doing in this podcast is, a verb is philosophizing, is telling you my ideas, my thoughts, right, and explaining to you why I have those ideas, why I have those thoughts, why I think my ideas and my thoughts are true. And then there's also philosophy as a noun, like as a thing, like as an academic discipline, as a subject of study where you study the history of ideas, you study philosophers, you study their ideas and their thoughts. So most of us don't have a problem with philosophy as a verb, which is what this podcast, one of the things this podcast is dedicated to. We kind of have a problem, or we think it's dry or boring or nonsensical, right? The academic discipline of philosophy, or the noun. So, but in truth, we have a philosophy on everything. And if you're into fitness, you have a philosophy on fitness, and I think personally that it's fun to talk about that stuff. So there you go, 4 things. You can do cardio, you can pray, you can do body weight exercises, but challenge yourself by doing them a lot slower so that you increase your time under tension. And when you do exercises slow, your muscles start to shake. That's kind of how you know that the workout is good. And then the other thing that you can do is talk about fitness. That's fun. And when you get really into the conversation, next thing you know, next thing you know, maybe you're 30 minutes or an hour into it. So I think that's it for now, my dear and beloved Dani Flows. Let me know what you think, right, about those suggestions. Let me know what you think about the reasons that I shared why someone might get into weightlifting. Let me know if I sounded too judgy about guys that post their abs all the time, or girls that post their glutes all the time. That's fine. If you want to call me judgy, that's okay, I guess. I don't know. And make sure you like the video if you're watching on YouTube. If you've subscribed, thank you for subscribing. If you haven't subscribed, please subscribe so that you can keep up with my weekly vodcasts where we talk about philosophy, faith, family, fitness, and fun. And if you subscribe, let me know in the comments why you subscribed. If you're listening on Apple Podcasts, thanks for listening. Subscribe on there. Leave a review if you have time, if you feel like doing something cool. Share my vodcast with your fam bam and your bestie and your next to bestie. And if you want to support the Dani Flow podcast vodcast financially because it's added value to your life, the link to that is also below. If you don't, that's cool too. Keep listening, keep being a subscriber, and the best thing that you can do, right? The coolest thing that you can do is to share this on your social medias, especially on your Instagram story. I'd really appreciate that. So thanks for watching. Thanks for putting up with me. I'm aware that I'm weird, but you like it. So as always, my dear and beloved Dani Flores, remember what Venerable Archbishop Fulton J. Sheen taught us: your life is worth living. Love you, my guys and my girls. Bye.